show is amazing. This show really is. And I can't gush enough about how great this show is. I really can't. The one thing I love about the show the most is the consistency. If they cap off the second episode, they're gonna start the second episode with the beginning of the first episode, talking about the first episode. When the second episode ends, they start with the ending of the second episode at the beginning of the third. That's the one thing that I really do love about the show is the consistency, and they have really been consistent pretty much all the way through. And it started off with Cheryl pretty much saying that she was guilty of lying, but not guilty of her brother's murder. Do I believe that she actually did murder her brother? No. She actually said that she was helping her brother escape. Escape from what? And that's the one thing that kind of got me grabbed in. Like, seriously, they will get you grabbed in at the beginning of the entire show. And that's what they did with me here. And when it came to finding out that Cheryl's brother was trying to run off because he was hiding from something, really does kind of get me intrigued a little bit. But it didn't really intrigue me more than the subplot of this entire show. Now, the subplot really did hit home with a lot of people, probably, especially in high school, because this is still going around. The fact that Veronica was slut shamed by Chuck, and she practically got a lot of people to help her out to take him down, kind of warmed my heart a little bit. Until Betty kind of went all crazy on him and tried to kill the guy. But other than that, I will say this. It was really great that they actually did touch on an episode like that without seeming overly preachy. And literally did not downgrade the characters or made them into something that they weren't. It actually did bring a lot of young girls together on that episode, and Ethel was awesome. Like, she was freaking hardcore. She was the one that's kind of started the whole thing. And I don't know much about the characters in Archie, but I'm starting to like the characters on the show. And who knows, it might make me interested in actually go back and actually read the comic book. But other than that, it was really great on how they did it. They didn't really kind of take the subplot and completely eclipse the main one. They were able to take the main plot about Jason's murder and kind of merge it into the subplot and gave it some substance, gave it some relevancy. And I love that, especially when it came to the playbook. The playbook actually kind of was the bridge between the subplot and the main plot, and I enjoyed that a lot without it seeming like, okay, they just shoehorned it in there. It actually had a relevance. It had a reason. Now, when it came to Chuck, as hot as Chuck is, ooh, Chuck was a jerk. By far. And honestly, I didn't really think that you were able to actually put a maple syrup stain on somebody's face from Facebook. I didn't think that was even possible you could do that. Unless that was just an app that they did for that show. But other than that, when they were talking about getting maple barred or getting maple something, is that insulting Chuck? Like, I'm just saying, like, since Chuck is black and the fact that maple syrup is the same color as him and they said he got maple barred, is that kind of a slur to him? I'm just wondering. I'm just saying. But other than that, it was really great to see Veronica at her most hot, main, angry, like, heated, raged moment. I guess that's a better way of saying it. When it comes to Veronica, Veronica literally will take you down. Like, she will take a freaking gas torch and burn everything you have down to the ground. That's pretty much how Veronica is. But when it came to this, her method didn't work. And she was smart enough to actually get help from Betty. And Betty actually, I see so many sides to Betty that girl amazed me. She amazed me in every single episode. The fact that she was like had an overwhelming sense of justice. She literally got every girl that really was a victim of that playbook and got them all together in one room just to take down the football team. Whoa. Usually, when you think of Girl Next Door, you think of Wishy-Washy, you think, oh, I don't want to get in trouble, blah, blah, blah. No, not Betty. This is a different side of Betty. And speaking of different side, yeah, Betty can also be really scary, and we kind of saw in episode 2 that chick can literally get really scary very fast. And I'm just hoping that they don't really try the whole dual personality thing and saying that Polly doesn't exist and Polly is Betty. Please don't do that. Please don't do that. Oh my gosh, don't do that. But other than that, seeing a darker side of Betty just makes me wonder if, and I guess I'm gonna go straight to a theory here. It kind of makes me wonder whether or not Polly actually does exist. Something is telling me that Polly does not exist. Something is telling me that Polly is Betty. and Betty has a dual personality that is called Polly. Unless I have seen pictures of Polly and her and Betty together, then I stand corrected. But at this point, it looks like that Betty and Polly are the same person. And that's probably the reason why. I mean, I don't know. They said that Polly was institutionalized. Um, they said Polly was actually in a mental home, a mental ward. So you can say a lot of things and it can't it probably not it's probably not real. Like something is telling me that Polly does not exist. Something is telling me that Polly is Betty. That could be it. That's my overall theory. That's one of the theories that I have in this episode is that Polly does not exist. But I don't know. I don't know. I mean, but it doesn't really add up. It doesn't really make any sense because of the fact that Jason was talking about Polly. Polly was actually written in a book, but it could be the possibility that Betty could have been dressed up as Polly. I don't know. I really don't know. But in my humble opinion, I think that Betty and Polly are one person. I think that Betty has dual personalities, and Polly was a whole nother one. That's just my overall theory. But I want to hear y'all's theory and leave it in the comments below. But let's move on from there. Let's talk about Archie. Now, the girls had their own subplot, and Archie had his own subplot. Archie is still trying to be a songwriter. And the fact that he actually did help out Cheryl by talking to the cops about the gunshot that he heard, but he still kept Miss Grundy's name out of it. And the fact that he actually helped Cheryl out, Cheryl actually did him a solid by letting him sit in at a session with Josie and the Pussycats. Now, as happy as I am for the fact that Josie and the Pussycats are black, my biggest concern is the fact that they are black characters and not characters that happen to be black. Let me explain. When it comes to stories, whether it's comic books, whether it's what have you, if it's a story or what have you, occasionally they always change the characters. They change the character's color or change the character's race or diversity, or whatever. They change the character in general, and usually it's race based, just to be edgier. Now, when it comes to Josie and the Pussycats being black, I am cool with that. Fine. They're minor characters. Fine. But the problem is there's not a lot of growth with Josie and the Pussycats at all. They are just the band. Like, seriously, I would love to be able to see every single one to be individual characters and not them to be characters just for being black. I mean, just characters, black characters. I want to see characters for just being black. Well, you know what I mean. I'm getting tongue-tied here. But the thing is that I want to see some growth with Josie. It seems like that Josie has the potential for a lot of growth as a character because she does have tunnel vision. She has a massive amount of tunnel vision. She has overall I'm not gonna say stereotypical views because it's not stereotypical. There are a lot of artists. There are a lot of artists these days that do struggle getting their foot in the door, and occasionally it is because of what they look like. But in this case, when it comes to Josie, I would love for her to see Archie for who he is, an actual songwriter that is struggling to be heard. Now, in her case, I can't really say that she's struggling to get noticed. Everybody knows who Josie and the Pussycats are. And it doesn't seem like she's struggling or clawing or scraping at all. She probably did to have to get to that point, but she's not that way now. But when it comes to Archie, he is literally a songwriter that is not being heard. So I would love for her to actually see that in him. But for some strange reason, she's stuck on the fact that, okay, we had to struggle to get where we are, and we just kind of want to have our own music. I understand you want to have your own identity, but the fact that you kind of sort of made it because you're having gigs everywhere, and I know she said that her mom got a ton of hate mail when she was a mayor. And of course, you know, her mom is being played by Robin Givens. But her mom got had a whole ton of hate mail because of the fact that she was a mayor, and probably because maybe she was a black mayor. But the thing, well, probably it was because she was a black mayor. But she said, even though the Riverdale is opening up, my mom had a ton of hate mail the first time she got in office. And I'm like, yeah, your mom had a ton of hate mail the first time she got in office, but what does that have to do with you? You literally probably had to scrape and claw to get to where you are, but your mom happens to be the mayor who can get you any gig you can possibly get at Riverdale. Not only that, it doesn't seem like you are a struggling artist. So as a artist, you should help another artist that wants to help you, especially if his songs are good. So that's one thing that bugged me about the whole black dynamic It's the fact that they use that whole black struggle with someone who isn't struggling. That's my biggest problem with Josie and the Pussycats. She's not struggling. Her mom is freaking mayor. She can literally play anywhere she wants to and any place she wants to, and her music is well known. You got Archie that can barely be heard. That dude is hiding from his dad from trying to be a songwriter. He's struggling more than you are. And that's the one problem that I have with any single type of character, whether major or minor, that is changed to black. They literally just stamp the black struggle on it and make it that. When there's no struggle to be had with Josie and the Pussycats, it's just hearsay. We have no proof from our eyeballs that that chick struggled. So that's the one thing that bugs the crap out of me when it comes to any character that has changed to black. They literally stamp the black struggle on them, and that's it. You roll that way. Seriously? Come on. But I digress. I would still love to see Josie and the Pussycats, especially Josie and Valerie, to be dynamic characters. Because it seemed like that Josie and Valerie are more like best friends than the other chick that's in the band that I cannot remember the name of. But other than that, I would love to see them grow as people. And I would love for her to see Archie as a actual artist, as an actual potential songwriter, than just a guy who has a different skin color who can probably get into places that she can't, even though she can get into those places. I'm moving on from there. Now, of course, I love Jughead. Jughead would always be my favorite character because Jughead he's not as snarky as I thought he was at the beginning of the series, but it seems to me that he is more of a realist. And not only that, I love the fact that Jughead is more of a serious reporter than he is just a blogger. Not that I'm against any bloggers out there, and there are tons of them, especially vloggers and bloggers. It's the fact that he has a lot more than just the conspiracy theories and stuff that he writes. There actually is there's a method to his madness. Like, everything that he wrote is now becoming an actual story for the newspaper that is getting noticed. And he's actually helping out Betty a lot more with the newspaper. And honestly, I like the fact that Betty is becoming a little bit more of a reporter as well and actually trying to crack down on injustice. So I love the fact that Betty and Jughead was actually working together as a team, not only for to solve the murder of Jason Blossom, and they did far more than the cops have ever done, and that usually is in every single teen series. I don't know why that is. But other than that, it was great. It was a great dynamic to actually see those two work together and to see that what they're doing and how they are as characters coming together for a greater cause. And I love that. I really do. And it does actually explain the gunshot. Now, I think my brain goes back and forth occasionally, but the one thing that I'm going to say is this. We end up finding out towards the end of the series what the gunshot was, who shot it, and why they were doing it. And it happened to be Scoutmaster Doyle was literally teaching his scouts how to shoot. Now, when it comes to the whole misdemeanor thing and he wanted to keep it out of the papers, I'm like, you could have kept that out because we really don't know the gun laws of a non-existent town. So unless we knew the gun laws of the non-existent town, then it would have made sense to have that referenced in there. But since we don't really know what the gun laws are for the non-existent town, you should have left that out. Like, it was just stupid. Like, seriously, it was. Not only that, knowing the fact that it was Scoutmaster Doyle that shot the gun that was just trying to teach his scouts how to shoot made the entire guilt premise that they had on Archie for the last 2 episodes irrelevant. And it would have been nice if Jughead at the very end literally came to Archie to tell him, okay, we end up finding out that on the 4th, the gunshot actually came from Scoutmaster Doyle. He was just teaching his scouts to shoot. And it would have literally just took all the guilt away from him because he was so guilty and so racked with guilt thinking that he actually heard a murder that he actually was coming close to not only outing himself but outing his teacher just to get rid of the guilt. And it would have been nice if Jughead freaking told him, hey dude, it was not the gunshot that killed Jason Blossom. It was just Doyle firing the gun with his scouts. It would have been nice. He would have been a friend and actually told Archie what really happened. But And it kind of did, in a way, make the entire Archie guilt thing irrelevant. It really did. And I don't think that was their intention, but that's just really what happened. But other than that, the show was great. The show was overall amazing. They still stuck to the main plot. It didn't really become engulf. I mean, it didn't engulf the subplot. It actually merged with it and worked with it. There's so much chemistry with all the characters, especially Josie and Archie. And the fact that we actually do see that the character that there's no triangle means the triangle is going to probably grow down the line and going to merge together eventually, maybe in season 3. But other than that, I enjoyed this episode. I want to hear y'all's thoughts on it. Leave in the comments below. And I'm going to also leave a poll up above so you guys let me know exactly how you feel about this episode. Because since we might not have Girl Meets World, we might not. I don't know. Shoot. Since we got to wait a while till Girl Meets World comes back out, or if they are, I still want to interact with you guys. So I'm going to leave a poll up above for those that actually are watching Riverdale. And let me know what you think. But other than that, guys, I am done here. Naturegirl 30 signing off. Peace out. Later.